Hello, 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 YouTube, YouTube. I would like to introduce myself for the first time for many, although I don't have to be followers anyway on YouTube. But however, I wanted to share the new Mrs. Terrell.
Right. So her name is Mrs. Felicia Terrell,
Yes.
and I am her husbandman.
Yes.
Robert
Husband.
Terrell.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Terrell, but you can just call me Rob just for namesake. That's just how
We call him Rob. Yeah.
That's just how it is.
So what I wanted to do here today is I wanted to share our testimony. While it was nice and fresh on our heads, I definitely wanted to share our testimony. A little bit, just to tell you a little bit about what happened beforehand, to tell you the story. I'm in my 40s. I never imagined I would not be married at the age of 40. It wasn't my whole dream to come true at that age. But I had never been married. I was waiting. God told me that the person was going to be worth my weight, and just to wait on him. And so, being single, not that bad looking, not the best looking, but not that bad looking. Dated, and went through a whole bunch of frogs. Went through a lot of counterfeit people who claimed they were, a righteous man of God and things of that nature when they really wasn't. Things took place, and I had to go through a lot of dating and a lot of people, and it came to a point of time where I had to seriously ask God every time at a certain age, like, is this somebody that I'm supposed to be ministering to that's the opposite sex, or is it somebody I'm supposed to date? They all come to you wanting to date, but sometimes I realized that everybody wasn't to keep. My mom used to tell me all the time, every good man ain't your man. I had to ask God these questions and stuff, because at a point in time, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, God, when am I gonna have my man? I don't mind doing your work. I don't mind, telling people about you and stuff like that. But when am I gonna have my man? And he was just kept on promising me, it's gonna be worth your weight. It's gonna be worth your weight. And I would tell people, like, you single? I thought you was married. You never saw no ring on my finger. You never saw me change my status. Because, honey, once I am no longer single, my status is going to be changed. Ain't no secrets over here. Okay? What, babe, when we start going together, I change immediately. ASAP. Okay? I ain't trying to mess around. Okay? And so, we sat up there and waiting. And I was like, well, I told my sister, I said, listen, when the man does come, I ain't going to know the difference. How am I going to know the difference when everybody, God told, because they know I'm a Christian. They know I love Jesus. They know I'm always talking about God. God told me you was going to be my wife. I've heard that so many times. And I tell people all the time, if God told you, I talk to God every day. Why ain't he told me yet?
Yeah, baby, right.
Right. So I'm like, okay. And I kept asking God. So I started to pray for my future husband, not even know who my future husband was. I started doing that because you got to speak things into existence. And I realized that at the time, I said, hey, I'm going to pray for him. If you're saying he's going to be worth my weight, let me pray for the person who's going to be worth my weight. Before I knew Rob, I was praying for Rob.
Hell, so she's worth my weight too. You know what I'm saying? So it goes both ways.
Yes, we're so blessed. We're so blessed by the best, honestly. So God, I told my sister like a weeks before, I said, I don't know how he's gonna stand out, blah, 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 before I met him. Then 3 people came to me before I met my husband. I had an auntie that came to me. She said, hey, we've been missing your call. Laura's been after me, chastising me to get to you. And they did tell you this message. I got to give you this message. She told me he was coming.
He's on his way.
My best friend, I was laughing. We was laughing, KKKing, on the phone. This is all in the same week. KKKing on the phone and stuff. And she was like, no, I'm serious. I'm going to pray for your husband right now. We don't pray for him to come now. We going to pray. I'm serious. She made me stop laughing. She got serious and she started, her name is Tiana. She started praying on the phone for me right then and there. And she was praying for my husband to come now, sooner than later. And I love the love that she had. And at the time, God gives us signs. God gives us symbols and signs. And we really just have to pay attention. Pay attention. Because that time, I surely said her sign, really didn't put the two together. She did hers. She prayed right then and there, made me be quiet. And I felt her prayer. I felt it. And I knew it came from a genuine prayer from my bestie.
And then also, it's like we just need to be careful about who we receive a word from, because everybody can't be trusted.
Right. Like all those people, I thought you were
Yeah, because like anybody can tell you any old thing and say, God said it. No, man, like.
Right.
No, like it don't always work like this. So it's best to use discernment and, pray for God to send those right people to you.
Absolutely.
Everybody ain't right.
Absolutely. And then the third person was my sister-in-law. She has a prophetic dreams. She always had this before me as well. And so she called me, very eager to talk to me as well. And she said she had a dream and it felt so real, so where she can touch it. She said I was so happy and everybody around me was happy. Everybody else could feel the love. It was so real. And that my husband to me was a looker. He was yes, you are my son, Pepper. You're a looker.
Yeah, baby, thank you. I appreciate that.
She told me that though. She said he's a looker. Yeah. And I was like, well, dang, because I got off of Facebook Marketplace. Facebook dating app, because I got sick of all the suckers that was coming on that I was meeting, and all the things that just wasn't going right on that app. And I was like, I need to get off of this app because ain't nothing out there. But then when she told me this, I said, someone told me get on it one more time. I was tired, Paul. I was tired of being tired. But I was like, okay, gotta be available for him to see me, especially if I don't go out and do nothing, So I went out there, and lo and behold, this man messaged me.
Right.
What did you think when you first saw my page, babe?
I was like, you was the finest thing up on there, so I might as well just shoot my shot. So I'm like, if I'm going to go out with a bang, I might as well go out with a bang. And initially, like, I didn't have no plans, dating and whatnot, because it's like, you done seen it all, been through it all, whatnot, and you grow kind of numb to relationships and whatnot. And I was like, hey, like, I'm just doing it because I wasn't actively looking for nobody. Like, I was just doing it, just be doing it, and just so happened it turned into something more. Right. So it was like, before I met my wife, it was like I was staying on the straight and narrow, because it's like it's a lot of guys out here that they male sluts. You know what I'm saying? They go around slutting around.
But, there is, yeah.
But
men and women.
It's like a man got to know how to keep his goods to himself. And I didn't want to form no soul ties and all that stuff, because you be walking around bipolar with all these different things living in you. And with me, I don't like nothing conquering me. You know what I'm saying? So I just don't want none else living in me, before I meet my future wife. And to make a long story short, with me and her, it was like, I was going through tough times and whatnot, because I'm previously married. So I am...
He was divorcee.
Yes, per se. And that's not an easy process to experience.
And we'll talk about that on a different vlog, more in depth. Now let's we'll talk about that.
And it was like, we first got together on Christmas Day. And, and
that's the first time we actually saw each other for a long period of time.
Yeah.
Was on Christmas Day. We seen each other briefly at the
Yeah. And y'all like we met up at a McDonald's and whatnot, and
public place, of course.
It was cold.
Oh my God, it was so cold. It was like snow everywhere. It's like ridiculous. And I'm right down the street. He had to drive all the way clear across from the other side of town. But when he met me and stuff, I was looking at him because I was already getting over this man already. Like, when, like our first conversation was like so long. It was like a couple hours.
6, 7 hours long.
Yeah. And he's talking about, he asked some questions for me, y'all. And he already asked all the questions throughout the 6-hour conversation. What other questions do you got?
I like to do things.
He wanted to write down the questions, honey. He wanted to write down notes and everything.
Order, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just do things because I'm structured in how I do things. So I'm just not going to just do things off the fly because I want to make sure that how I present myself is accurate. You know what I'm saying? And I come through and get to the point. You know
well, I knew he was a real man of God because he didn't just say things, he did things. We did not have sex.
Right.
We did not have sex before marriage.
No soul ties. No,
we didn't do it.
No.
And that's how you can really tell if a man is a man of God, is if he puts his foot down as the leader and be like, hey, this is not pleasing of God, which means we don't want to do it. I knew he was a man of God when we read his prayer for over me, his prayer with me, his reading on his own without me telling him, you know, him belonging to his own church before I met him. And these are some things that were important for me because I knew a man couldn't lead me unless a man was led by God.
Right.
I knew a man couldn't wear the pants around me unless he was led by God, because what's going to happen is we're going to clash. We're going to clash because I'm going to do what God says. And if you're called by God, you're going to do what God says, and they're going to align. They're not going to be bumping heads.
And then also, it's like with those fellas out there, they want to have a crown, but they want to play the role of a clown.
Ooh.
So it's like, you know, if you really want to be about that life, you got to let go of yourself. You know what I'm saying? It's not all about you at the end of the day, because we all got something to answer to.
Absolutely,
and then it don't matter who or what you believe in, we all gonna die. Let's be real, like we all gonna die one day, and we all gonna stand before God for ourselves.
Absolutely.
Your mama, your auntie, and your uncle is irrelevant. So yeah.
All right, he preaching, y'all, but we're gonna keep on going with this story about us meeting each other. So just like he said, on Christmas, it was our first real date. On Christmas Day.
Christmas.
Yes, and my best friend was like, you gonna have a Hallmark Christmas. And let me tell y'all something. This is how I know God. Should have been the one. I don't cook for nobody, honey. I do not cook for men. I did not cook for men. I cook for my baby. I cooked for me. The very first day, he came over on Christmas Day for our first real date, which is crazy. And I cooked. I cooked. And I knew he was different. I knew he was different because I felt comfort in it. And he helped me cook. And we cooked some of the meal. He cooked the rice and stuff. And we had a Hallmark Christmas. God is able. God is God. I always saw movies and stuff on Christmas time. And, you know, they find love. Like, 42 years didn't see it. 41 years I didn't see it. You know. But 42 years, the 42nd year, honey, I synced it.
And then it's like, it's a personal value of mine is that
it was Hallmark.
Men need to work in the home. You know what I'm saying? You just can't sit around in your home and bark orders at people. You gotta, you know, to get the respect of your home, you gotta know how to serve your family.
Yeah, and this time it wasn't his home though, trust me. It was a visitor.
But that's natural though, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, we gotta be helpers to one another. But I personally believe if you want the respect of your home and your family, you know, you gotta how to serve people without making a name for yourself.
Absolutely, babe. So check this out. He asked me to go with him. Now, we knew each other a couple weeks. We saw each other before and stuff. He asked me to go with him. I'm like, are you serious or are you just saying it? I even asked him, like, are you serious? He was like, yeah, I'm serious. And I ain't had a boyfriend in a long time. And so I was like, yeah, because before he asked me to go with him, I already told everybody I was talking to somebody. I don't want to talk to nobody else. Before he even asked me to go with him, I was like, I'm going to focus on this man. You know, that's another reason I want to focus on this man. See what this man got going on. You know what I'm saying? So he asked me to start going together on Christmas Day. And I'm going to try to fast forward a little bit because I don't want the video to be too long. But then we start going together and stuff. And then how many months later did you ask to marry me?
Like 5 months later.
5 months later, he asked to marry me. Now, let me tell y'all something. Now, before in that 5 months, I talked to one of my brothers on a three-way. I'll never forget this, with my brother Preston, my brother Ricky. And I told both of them, I said, listen, because my brother was like, you got to know somebody at least a year before you say yes to marriage. You got to know somebody at least a year. I said, listen, because about that time, I already asked God 3 times. Is that the right one? So let me know, give me my sign. And God gave me so many signs, honey, that was so miraculous to me. That stood out so indefinitely. There was a time I was writing my diary. The last time that I didn't ask him ever again, I asked him, like, in my diary, I was like, listen, I don't want my heart to go to somebody that don't belong. I want to be pleasing to you. I want to live in your footsteps. I need to know if this is my husband or this is somebody I'm supposed to be with. Right. And then out of nowhere, I was nowhere near the play button. A song came on the radio from a distance. Nobody pushed play. I was the only one at home. And I start crying. Tears start rolling down the paper that I'm writing in a diary because God's presence and the Holy Spirit was so profound and so strong. It talked so heavily that was nothing but a miracle that song came on at a point. It was Mary's song. It's part where she was talking about her husband. Well done. That's what came on. And I remember I was crying and I said, I'll never ask you again. I'll never ask you again, God, is this the one? I'll never question it again. I'll never ask again. Yeah. And so.
And then, like, once I found out that I was her husband and whatnot, I didn't get a big head about myself. Like, I won't say, I'm this and I'm that. Because it's like, man, when God links you two up, you kind of, as a privilege, because God can always replace you. So don't always think you're irreplaceable, like that Beyonce song goes. No one is irreplaceable, man. So it's like, I just count it to this day that this woman being my wife as a privilege and not a entitlement.
Right.
And being full of yourself.
Right.
So that's how I look at it, for real.
Right. So it's kind of crazy because I had a daughter. She's at 16. And he had a son, right, which is
5 years old.
5 years old. So I had a daughter, had a son, one was a teenager and a toddler, and we're getting a blended family here. Right. So we definitely have many different prayers. I love our prayer life together. I love our prayer life as individual and as a collective. My husband, honey, he can pray that word and that prayer, and I got the fire in my prayer. Yeah. And you add the word and the fire together, baby, it's a joint toot, honey. We can do some stuff for the kingdom, honey. Right. It makes me excited what God is going to do with us, with the kingdom. That's so exciting to me. But if I would have just went to anybody and like, I deserve this, I deserve that. No, wait for God. Let God do this. Let God show you. We're going to do this in 2 parts. This is part 1, guys, of how we met a little bit. And, when we started going together, it took us, we met it only took him a month to ask me to go with him. It only took you a month.
Yeah, I believe
so. A little bit less than a month for you to ask me to be your girlfriend.
It took me 2 weeks.
No, 2 weeks. He took him 2 weeks to ask me to be his girlfriend.
When a man knows, you're
right. Took him 2 weeks for asking me to be his girlfriend, and it took him about 5 months to ask to be his wife, to propose to me. So we're going to do the second part right now. This is about 19 minutes. We're going to cut her off right here, and we're about to do part 2, and it's going to be about our wedding and our honeymoon, what God did and what happened to us building up for that wedding, building up for that honeymoon, which we just got back and we're so happy about. Right. So this is our Terrell testimonies. This is the Terrells. This is our testimony. We're going to share the other one, part 2. Stand by. Yes, I did have the ugly cry, but it was everything. My husband did a wonderful job. My friends came over, Quita and Tiana. We all had a good time, and her husband, Derwick. We all just rejoiced and had a good time. I's getting married. Look out for part 2. We're talking about the wedding. Thanks for watching.